Here we are. You know what that music means, right? That like sort of Afro, I don't know, Dulcé, what would you call it? Afro pop, Afro punk, whatever. Anyways.
Afro techno robot.
Yeah, there you go. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Don Lemon Show. We're so glad that you can join us this evening. We're here in Chicago. This is our workspace in Chicago. Isn't it nice? We have a little loft. We have not gone over to the convention center today. We're going to do that after we do this. Actually, we went to get our credentials, whatever, new credentials for today. So we are here to provide you some on-the-ground coverage of the DNC convention all week. And let me tell you, the first night, the second day, but last night was amazing. If you have not viewed our social media, you need to check it out today. And producers, I'm not sure we did this, but if you see put some social media stuff in there of the stuff that we did today, some of the interviews, so that the lemon heads can see it. The Democrats kicked off a week with beautiful, touching send-off to President Joe Biden last night or yesterday evening. There were tears in almost everyone's eyes out there on the floor and people who were watching. During his primetime address, President Biden said choosing Vice President Kamala Harris to be his running mate back in 2020 when she was Senator Kamala Harris was the best decision that he ever made. He said, that was the best decision I made in my whole career. His passing of the torch is a major shift for Democrats. The party, which was deeply fractured just 1 month ago, was entirely united on Monday night in their love for Joe Biden, in their support for the Vice President Kamala Harris, and in their opposition to Donald Trump. And we're gonna dig into it with the perfect person, a co-pilot tonight, which is Dulcé Sloan. Dulcé, of course, you'll recognize her from The Daily Show. She is a correspondent there at The Daily Show, of course, and a very talented and accomplished comedian. And she's the author of a fantastic, hilarious book. It's called Hello, Friends. Dulcé, I wish I had second applause for that. Welcome. I'm so glad you're on the show. How are you, my dear?
I am great. I am happy. I am blessed and highly favored. Look at God, as they say. So I'm doing well, friend. I'm doing well.
Good. So we're going to talk about, we're glad you're here. And oh, by the way, I ran into Roy Wood on my way out of the event. Are you guys cool?
Yeah, Roy Wood Jr. saved my life many times at the Daily Show. I call him Uncle Roy, even though he's only 5 years older than me, which made the whites at the show go, so is Roy like really? I was like, y'all don't know how terms of endearment work, you Yankee whites? Like in the South, you call someone who's either an OG, you look up to them, sign of respect, uncle. If I don't know an older man's name, uncle. Like it's a sign of respect. But they were like, did you know Dulcé and Roy related? I was like, do you know this is not true? So it's but yeah, shout out to Uncle Roy, shout out to his new show. And we're outside. It's a blessing. Everybody,
we outside. No, so you're right. A lot of people don't understand, like, you know, OG, paying respects to OG, because that if you don't, that karma always comes back to haunt you. So we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the funniest and most powerful moments with Dulcé. You're going to hear from a lot of people. You're going to hear from, there's a new Beyonce ad. Steve Kerr spoke last night. Obviously, President Biden spoke. The Vice President Kamala Harris came out last night as well. So we've got a lot for you. So to start us off, I want to play a mashup of some of the really most memorable moments from last night. And I want to thank our friends over at The Recount for putting this together. Let's watch it.
Hey.
Do my black job.
This is Project 2025.
You're damn right it is.
Donald Trump would sell this country for $1.
We can tell Donald Trump, night, night.
In the words of the great American poet, Nellie, it's getting hot in here.
First person to run for president with 34 felony convictions.
J.D. Vance, they tried to kill your predecessor.
Will a vindictive, vile villain violate voters' vision?
Come on, give it up for
give
it up.
Joe, thank you for your historic leadership.
Joe Biden is the OG girl dad.
America, I gave my best to you.
This ticket, feeling that energy, just a privilege.
What was your favorite moment from last night? Your favorite speech or favorite moment from last night? Dulcé.
I gotta say, one, alliteration. I'm always down for that. I've been a theater kid for a long time. Two, Joe Biden got up and all of a sudden, I don't know if he took his fish oil or I don't know if he took his beef oil. I don't know if he had a green juice, but all of a sudden everything was, but it makes
Popping.
right. But it makes when you're not stressed the hell out, your brain works very quickly.
Right.
So I was very happy. Also, Kamala got their hair lightened. Got their hair.
You noticed that?
Oh, of course I noticed
it.
it.
Okay.
Because it's like, you know how J-Lo's skin and hair have always been like the same color since like the late 90s, early 2000s. It's kind of the same thing where like her skin and her hair and her jacket, like her jacket were all the same color. But OG Girl Dad, amazing. But yeah, I was happy to see Joe Biden finally get to sit down. The man has been working, since he was 29 years old. He's exhausted. And the best thing he could have done was allow Kamala to run because, listen, in the same way, it was going to be like, all right, let me go vote for this man. And no one was excited about it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. I mean, I think that's really one of the reasons that Hillary lost. Like, no one was excited to vote for her.
But it did feel like a weight was lifted off of his shoulder. He felt sort of carefree. Listen, he was Joe Biden, right? We know that he has a stutter and all that. So there were some moments, but still, he just felt like, look, I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I remember it's just like, I always wanted that for John Lewis. John Lewis was still trying to help us until the day he met the Lord.
Right.
He never got to relax because he never stopped. He was never able to stop working because the work always had to be done. So I think, of course, you're lighter. Like, listen, when you give your 2 weeks notice at a job, the most excited you ever are, the most carefree you ever are at a job is when you know you're about to quit.
Right.
The most
That's
carefree is when you don't. Right. The most carefree you are at a job is when you don't give your 2 weeks notice, but you know you're going to quit. And they're like, oh, Don's been kind of happy today at the job. What's going on? Y'all don't know. They got another job starting on the 5th. That's why I've been so carefree and happy at the job. No, I ain't give no notice because y'all ain't give no notice to Nancy when y'all fire her. So yeah, it's your last day at the job because he knows it's just he's lame duck. He's not running again. So he's chilling.
Well, and they gave him the analogy last night that someone said, and I thought it was really true. They gave him the gold watch, right? The retirement watch. Oh, here you go. Thank you. Great. We appreciate it. Enjoy your gold watch. Enjoy your stocks and your, pension and have a, we appreciate it. But there was lots of love. And I think that was actually very smart, Dulcé, because I don't know if you remember, you're not old enough to remember, you're a baby. Clinton Gore and Al Gore kind of separated himself from Bill Clinton, right?
Well, he had to. He had to. I remember Clinton Gore. I'm 41. I remember Clinton.
Yeah, but everyone said that's why he lost because the country still loved Bill Clinton regardless.
Well, I think with the mistake the problem was that the Republican Party at that time was really toting that family values nonsense. So I think for them to stay in contact with the white base, that Christian base, they would just happen to be Democrats. It was like, well, because also he'd gone through like an impeachment hearing, right? And so it's like, well, he'd gone to this impeachment hearing, and then there's this other thing. So it's just like, let's kind of distance myself from him. I mean, I wasn't old enough but I remember what was going on because it was like, this is, but listen, Al Gore didn't become president and he was able to invent the internet. So it all ended up working out just fine. Just fine. It gave him time to invent Al Gore's internet, and that we truly thank him for.
So that was, what I really liked, and I noticed like the pantsuit game has been raised. The bar is, I noticed it that she started leaning into it, but last night the wide leg pantsuit tan, it was on point. It was good.
Remember the way they dragged Obama when he came out with that tan suit on.
Yeah, the anniversary is the 28th, and someone said, Don approached me in the lobby. I was going to get my credentials from a hotel and said, on the 28th, you better wear a tan suit in honor of President Barack Obama. It's the anniversary.
Lord, they dragged that man over that suit. It was like, you know how much a black man loves a light-colored suit? Why are you doing this to him? You better.
But what did you think about her? Cool. She looked great. I thought she looked great, and
the New York
Times
good to me.
Style section even wrote about that, Dulcé.
She always looks good. Here's the thing with a suit. You can only do so much. It's like when you see men in a formal event, you're like, yeah, all right. But her suits always look good to me. I think she's getting them made. It's not giving off the rack for me. But I think last night she went above and beyond because she's like, oh, y'all gonna come. Y'all gonna see. Got her hair freshly laid. Come on, you saw that. What was it's not a blow? It's a roller set. That was a roller set. I don't know which Dominican she had in the back, but that hair was laid. Mommy.
It was either heat or an optimum or something like that. So listen.
Only heat gives you that. A roller and a. Her scalp is hot. That's why I had to cover her ears. It probably got burned in the back.
So Dulcé, listen, I happened to be on the floor last night when there's a new Beyonce Freedom Song video when it rolled out, and everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, who's going to come out? Is it Beyonce? Is it what?" And so the vice president made a surprise appearance to kick off. But this is the video, an electrifying moment when this happened, when they kicked off the convention with this video, and she came out. Watch.
Trying to rain on the thunder. Tell a storm I'm new. I'm a wild, come and march on the regular. Painting white flags blue.
What kind of America do we want? One where we're divided, angry, depressed? Come on, we're Americans. Fascism, we conquered it. The moon, landed on it. The future,
the moon landed
building it. Freedom, nobody loves it more. And we fight for it.
I'll tell you.
Freedom from control. Freedom from extremism and fear.
Extremists want to take us back, but we are not going back.
I'ma keep running 'cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
We go forward. That's American. And we need a leader who is for the people.
Ours is a fight for the future.
Kamala Harris, protecting people from predators and big drug cartels, holding Wall Street banks accountable.
A crime perpetrated against our middle class.
Standing up to dictators and fighting for all of us.
I say we fight.
That's our choice. A prosecutor or a felon.
Are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it?
I'ma keep running 'cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
And when we fight, we win!
Okay, so what did you think of the fight song? Because people love that song, but they thought that that it was much better than Hillary Clinton's because they don't like that. This is our fight song, that thing. So did you like it? Did you love video? Like, love, hate? What?
Let me tell you something. That's gonna work. She's gonna win.
What?
She's gonna win.
Why? Tell me why.
Because I'm sitting here, I already know the lady. I'm sitting here almost teared up. The lady's gonna win. You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. This reminds me of the campaign videos I used to see when Clinton was running, right? So Clinton was like, he was the youngest to run, and it was this big deal, and everybody wanted to be behind him, but it was like, was he too young, right? And so it's the thing about politics is like, it's not what someone says. You don't remember what someone says, you remember how they made you feel. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So the way that this is why people get awards for editing. So you have to understand there was the perfect. First of all, you've got people of different backgrounds, different orientations, the way that you threw in the videos from the women marches, right? And my body and my choice in that. And then you're showing people of various backgrounds, but they're living as Americans. You see what I'm saying? It's like, we are Americans. This is what we do. This is who we are. And so, excuse me, because the Democratic Party has to represent everybody in America who's not white and Christian, right? The Democratic Party has always made the mistake of not being able to stimulate and hold all those people, right? For the same way that the Republican Party is like, oh, how do we get Latinos? And they don't realize that every country below us is a Latin American country, and everyone is descended from 3 different races of people. So they could never figure it out, because it's like, they're not a monolith, because it's literally different races of people. They just all speak Spanish. But they've never been able to crack nobody can get the Latinos, because it's like, it's too many humans, and there's too many backgrounds, there's too many histories. So that's the problem with the Democratic Party, is that they have to represent everybody else. And there's a way that you can show different people of different backgrounds and have it not be pandering, right?
Right.
And so this was very much a slice of American life. You started, and this is the genius of it. What was the first image of people you saw? Poor white people during the Depression. Right? And who is the Democratic Party never been able to reach? Poor white people.
Well, they used to be able to, but they've gotten, yeah.
Well, they can't, because people never acknowledge how smart the Republican Party is, because the Republican Party plays off of fear and racism. White nationalism and Christian nationalism, that's not Christianity, right? But you're playing up against for instance, the first time we ever saw poor white people on TV was Roseanne. Right.
Well, yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah,
because even if you look at
Beverly Hillbillies, but they weren't poor, they were rich.
They were hillbillies, but they hit a bubble and crude, and all of a sudden, that's a fish out of water story. You didn't see white people struggle on TV really until Roseanne. Because remember an episode of Roseanne where she was like, she would send an open envelope to the power company and say that the check fell out so that she wouldn't get her lights turned off. And I was like, after that episode aired, I was like, how many people just sent empty envelopes to the fucking power company? Because Roseanne said, you see what I'm saying? So if you're a white person watching TV, then all you see is white people with money. And then you go home and you don't have it. So if the American dream is for me to pull myself up by my bootstraps and get to this point where you see these rich people on TV, what happened? Why don't I have it? And the Republican Party slides in and goes, oh, you don't have it because of immigrants taking your jobs. You don't have it because of the black people on welfare. So they get them to vote against welfare that they're on, because they vote against welfare. They truly think that they're not voting to get themselves off of it. They're voting to get the black and the brown people off of it. So the reason the Republican Party has always been able to keep root with poor white people is because they've always been able to go, it's not us who are keeping you in institutional poverty. It's not us that are making sure that your schools don't have sex education, so all your daughters getting pregnant at 16 because they literally don't know what happened. That wasn't us. It was the blacks and the browns who were taking all these opportunities from you. Mind you, live in West Virginia. The entire state's 97% white. They didn't do that. They're not here. So... And Stacey Abrams was trying to talk to the Democratic Party of Georgia and going, we need to get poor white people. So the genius of that whole ad is that it had the perfect mix, because the Democratic Party used to make the mistake of missing poor whites.
Yeah.
And
here's the thing, though.
And that's what Trump is. He's holding up all these whites who feel like they're losing everything when they really had nothing to start with.
I understand what you're saying. And some people are in the chats and they're saying the Bundys, Married with Children, All in the Family, Archie Bunker. Here's the thing.
Archie Bunker I'm talking about, like, those were business.
You're talking about poor. Yeah. Those are working class people, middle class people.
Working class, middle class, All in the Family, Archie in the Bunker. They never talked about, like, hey, we're holding on, we're doing what we can. Roseanne, they were truly could not.
They were like the white version of Good Times. Like, they can't get a break, right? Good Times, they were always struggling, couldn't get out of the projects at a black show.
Exactly, struggling and surviving, all of that.
Close to that, which was different, was the Honeymooners back in the day, because he was a bus driver. But I think that's still kind of working class. It's not like,
because poor, right? Because they could afford for his wife to not work.
Right.
But also bread was 5 cents and
Right.
dollar
To the
was in the dollar.
moon, right? Yeah.
To the moon. Yeah, you could threaten. It's like, and that's a whole other problem. So just like, yes, we did have shows that showed white working class, but it was never truly, we are struggling to make it. She worked in a plastic factory. They both worked, because think about growing up. How many shows did you watch? That was the big shift where you looked at both people, the mother and the father
Working.
And
Right. Because I don't
had to
remember
work.
Carol Brady did not work. Okay, so
Peggy
listen.
Bundy didn't work.
I know. Okay,
So
I got
he
a lot.
made enough money selling shoes to keep her in spandex.
I got a lot to talk about from last night, and also about stuff on the floor. I'm gonna go. Listen, I thought it was so cute teasing this Tim Walz a little bit in this from Steve Kerr. He made a joke last night. The coach of the Golden State Warriors. He kicked off the evening with a very powerful speech, and I thought it was one of the best jokes of the night. Watch this.
I see all those qualities. They have devoted their lives to serving other people. Whether Vice President Harris was defending her community in the courtroom, or Governor Walz was inspiring the next generation in the classroom, or on the field, for that matter. By the way, coach to coach, that guy's awesome. Although, I have to say, Coach Walz, way too much reliance on the blitz in '99 against Mankato East. You had a strong defensive line. I would have played more press coverage with your corners and then dropped the safeties into a Tampa 2. That's just me. Sorry. I wanted you to know how I feel every day of the NBA season. All right. But listen, the joy, the compassion, the commitment to our country that we saw at the Olympics, that is what Kamala Harris and Tim Walz have. And it is what our country needs. Leadership, real leadership. Not the kind that seeks to divide us, but the kind that recognizes and celebrates our common purpose. Think about what our team achieved with 12 Americans in Paris, putting aside rivalries to represent our country. Now imagine what we could do with all 330 million of us playing on the same team.
So look, that was good. It was. You might have thought it was corny. I thought it was kind of cute. It wasn't Daily Show.
I just don't know why he was there.
Go on, tell me what.
I mean, he's the basketball coach. Is that why he was there?
Yeah, they just won the Olympics too.
Oh yeah, cute. Here's the thing. This is rhetoric that I really like in the political sphere that has always frustrated me, and that's the whole idea of we've never been more divided. We've always been divided. My ancestors were property. They couldn't even vote. What are you talking about? We've never been united as a country politically because we have a democracy. It's truly never happened because it's designed that way. Now, when you're talking about everyone talking about who should have rights and who shouldn't, we've never been on the same page with that either. The whole idea is like, we're so divided. We've never been so divided. We've always been divided. Because if you have a democracy, that's literally what you have to keep a country running. Otherwise, everybody votes for the same person. And then you either have a dictatorship or a monarchy. And that was the whole point of we only have a two-party system. Should we have a third party? Of course we should. But this whole idea, it is this constant rhetoric of like, we're so divided now. We've been divided the whole time. There were groups of people that were like, women shouldn't be able to vote. And other people was like, yes, they should. And then we got the 19th Amendment, right? Or it's like black people should have rights, so they shouldn't. Then we have the Civil Rights Act because JFK got assassinated. So it's like, and Martin Luther King got assassinated. So it's like all of these things. It's like, it doesn't benefit anybody to keep telling this lie.
Yeah.
Because no matter who gets elected, your team lost. It's always the Super Bowl. It's always the Super Bowl.
Okay, so speaking of Governor Walz, I had the opportunity just for a second because I'm literally walking out from the floor, going back to just charge our batteries, right? And then this is Governor Walz. We just ran across him, and I threw some questions in. and I'll let you say. So if you can run both of them back to back, go for it.
Feeling great.
You feeling great?
I'm just so proud to be on this ticket.
Are you hoarse?
I'm getting a little bit. So I'm going to talk about the future. That's what the vice president talks about. That's what I talk about. So thank you all.
Great, thanks.
So that was it. So two questions. He's like, I'm not taking any questions from the press. I'm like, what are you going to talk about on Wednesday night? Because he's speaking. But they have given him the makeover. If you notice, the suit is good. The hair is good. What's left? The tie's good. The shirt. And he's got this moment. I'm just so happy to be on this ticket. Or, I'm going to speak about the future, which is what the vice president, you know what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, they did Biden had been in Congress as long as I've been alive, asking Hillary why she's here. But I like him. And I looked at the policies of his state and what he's done in his state. And I think that it's going to be a wild statement. But it's just like, as of right now, just like, we really don't trust white men in government right now. Because it doesn't seem like they're doing anything for anybody's benefit. Because it's just like Joe Biden was supposed to, relieve the student loan debt and, and forgive it. And then it's like Congress was like, no. And it's like, it's just frustrating sometimes because I can't understand why a group of people would vote against helping the next generation of students. But then you realize, oh, this is about money. It's not about human beings. And then it completely makes sense. I like him. You can tell he's excited. He's given listen, nobody's helped me more in my life than a white dad. Okay. They show up. Listen, they've helped me with my car. Okay. They've helped me. Listen, plenty of them don't know, but they paid me to eat in college. Because one of their daughters was mad and it was like, I'm mad at my dad. We're going to Walmart. I'm like, tell Mr. Johnson, thank you very much. So I think he has a vibe of he just seems like, that's the thing I was saying before, like politics is about image, right? This man doesn't seem like you ever meet somebody who just genuinely wants to help? You know what I mean? Like he just really is just trying to look out for people. And I'm just like, oh, the kids in my state can't eat. Let me make sure they eat. And there's so many states that refuse to do it, though.
You know what? Just watching, I don't think I've ever met him. I wouldn't bet on it, but just watching him, he's just sort of walking through the crowd. Everyone wanted to take his picture, and then he just sat on the couch and was like, it was almost like he was a sitcom character. I have to, he's become a caricature of Tim Walz. Do you understand?
It's an overwhelming. You have to understand. He is a governor of a Midwestern state, so he's just doing what he's doing in his state. It's like as a comic where you're like, you're big in your city, right?
Yeah.
And so you handle your city, and then all of a sudden, it's like when somebody gets SNL, it's like you are famous, and it happens literally overnight, and it is just jarring. And I've seen it happen to my friends who got SNL, and it's just everybody knows you all at once, and it's so much, and it's and just like
weird.
It's weird. Like you can't walk through an airport, you can't walk through a grocery store. Like it's just like you got almost Beyonce famous overnight when before you was Michelle famous, and so you think Michelle can go to Target? Beyonce can't. Beyonce can't go to Target.
You don't think Beyonce could go to Target? I think that anybody can go anywhere.
Called them and they had to shut the store down for her to walk through with Blue Ivy.
I think maybe so. I don't know if there are people like maybe like Kim Kardashian or her or but I think
to go to DMV after hours because she couldn't be in I've been in the California DMV. She couldn't be. It's a madhouse in there. She had to go after hours.
Yeah. But I'm just saying sometimes it's the way you carry yourself. If you put on some sunglasses and pull your hair back in a thing, or put on a whatever bonnet, I'm just saying, whatever. Sometimes people just don't know, and you carry yourself like you're not famous. I think there are people who are beyond that, like Beyonce and others. They're just so famous that
it's in your body. It's how you move. Like you can't not. And also, you have to understand the same way that it's in your body. You're looking for people to recognize you. Because I'll be walking through the airport. I don't pay attention, And then somebody will come up to me and go, especially if I'm with another person, oh my God, I love you on the Daily Show. And da-da-da. Like I was walking through the Minneapolis airport, had a bonnet on because these braids is hot. And so like a couple people stopped me. Somebody stopped me for an autograph. They were waiting for me at the airport with pictures they had printed out from the cartoon from Great North for me to sign. I'm like, yo, this is
crazy.
It was just their baggage claim because they didn't know where my flight was. So they've been waiting all day for me to land to sign this. I'm like, this is nuts.
So
but also, thank you.
Do you think it's overwhelming for him? Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris couldn't walk down the street. And you know what? She does have that energy. Last night, I just happened to be walking up there and look how close I got. And there is something different about her now. Watch this. This is how close I got when she came out. Vice President is here.
She's feeling her oats. She's feeling her oats.
You think so?
Yeah, she's feeling her oats. You have to. Listen, she's been this person the whole time. She couldn't be this person before because she was the vice president and she had to be respectful to Uncle Joe. Now she can high step. The peacock can peacock. The flowers could, the feathers can spread. Before she had to be a little peahead and just sit there and be like, oh, I'm so supportive. Because that's what a vice president does. You can't do too much. That was the issue with Reagan and George Bush. Because he was doing too much. So you have, as a vice president, you have to chill. But if you are running for president, titties out. It's game time. You got to put your titty up. You got to get your hair did. You are hooker on the stroll and you're trying to get picked up tonight. You're trying to get the highest paying John you can. You on the stroll.
I want to show you something I thought was a little weird for me because and I'm going to compare the RNC to the DNC. You had someone taking off their clothes on stage, and I want to know which one do you prefer, and if that is Sean Fain or the scab joke or Hulk Hogan ripping off his shirt. Watch.
Words of the great American poet Nelly. It's getting hot in here.
There's nothing I love more than a white dad quoting a rapper.
Which one did you like?
Well, listen, Hulk Hogan.
Wait, did we show Hulk Hogan?
Y'all didn't show Hulk Hogan. The people need to see it. For the people that need to see it, the people need to see it.
Do we have Hulk Hogan? No.
Got to have. Listen, as someone who enjoyed wrestling as a child, I have seen Hulk Hogan rip his shirt open since the Reagan administration. So I'm familiar with the rip. But I'm sure I'm sure he didn't have a message on his body. I'm sure it was just like, hey, we out here.
Maybe this is the year of the dad. You were like, maybe daddies are going to be in fashion. There's a difference between a daddy and a dad, though.
I mean, we've always loved a father, except on Father's Day. But I guess apparently it's one of the least celebrated holidays, as opposed to Mother's Day, where crime goes down. That's a statistical fact. The crime drops on Mother's Day because you might be a criminal, but you still got to see your mama.
You got to see your mama.
Got to see your mama. But listen, you need what is more attention getting than disrobing in a formal situation? It's gonna get you like, oh, we're in suits, and this man just ripped a tank top in half. Like, of course, but it was like, Trump, like that man. There was no message. He wasn't saying nothing. The idea, like Trump being a scab, like it's a significant thing because it makes sense that he would not want a union or he's a union buster. I'm in a union. We just were on strike last summer. So, of course, and that's still affecting the industry a year later. You go on strike because you have to, not because you want to, because these white people won't pay you. So, to say that Trump is a scab, even if you aren't sure how you're going to vote, because there's plenty of Republicans in unions, which is interesting to me because they don't support them notoriously. But to see that, because like a scab is a very it's an offensive term, but it's a derogatory term, but it is a term that is necessary because it is someone who is going against the union. It is someone who is working in place of you. It is someone who's accepting lesser wages and not supporting the value of the work that you're doing.
Yeah. I have this just for you. This is your childhood of Hulk Hogan. I'm just going to hope you don't have any, doesn't trigger anything.
Happened last week when they took a shot at my hero. And they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again.
One, not Trumpomania. Two, how did he stop himself from ripping the second shirt?
I just thought that was cringe, but that's
wild. Just me. Also, man, that whole thing. Here's the thing. There were a lot of people online saying, oh, too bad it didn't work. And I'm just like, that's not what we wanted. That's not what we wanted. These whites are already foaming at the mouth. If you kill old boy, it's gonna be a real problem. I'm telling you, it was gonna be, they were gonna riot. It was going to be a riot. I was like, honestly, I was relieved because I'm like, these whites are gonna lose their shit if they kill this man.
You were relieved that I think everybody was, right? I mean, if
you're an intelligent human being who is paying attention to the temperature of the country and how angry these white people are by the prospect of him not being in office. Also, did you see all those people at the that had the Trump dictatorship on day one? Did you see those shirts? Like they're really to give up democracy for this man.
Go on, baby. I'm sorry. It's a little delay.
Sorry. And I wonder, is it him specifically, or would it be any white man in that place? Because y'all are so upset and so worried and so scared because the Republican Party has wound you up to be afraid that you're going to lose everything because someone got something. That is the burden of being in a majority and the mindset of being an oppressor, where it's someone getting rights feels like oppression to you as opposed to someone getting their own rights. Women getting the right to vote didn't stop men from voting. It just gave women the right to vote. But if you're sitting up on Fox News saying, well, when a man votes for a woman, he basically becomes a woman. You're like, what are you talking about? Also, there are people that would tell you that surgery costs way more than just going to vote for somebody. But it's literally not how this works. You need doctors involved.
But that's how they keep control of people, right? That's how they keep their power is by lying to people, co-opting them, manipulating them, because just because someone else gets a job or has opportunities, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have that. Doesn't mean that the black and brown people are stealing your jobs because they're getting jobs, right? And what does that mean? That was owed to you somehow as an American? Wouldn't that be DEI? Anyways, if you're like, just because we're supposed to have this, I thought everything was, sort of you're supposed to earn it. But anyways,
no, that's not the point. Yeah, that's the interesting part, because when you look at, I would just say this one point. They got rid of affirmative action, right? What group of people benefited the most from affirmative action? White women. Benefited the most from affirmative action, and these dum-dums just went and voted against it. So you were so worried about somebody black or brown getting something that you took it from yourself. That's why the state of Mississippi is the way that it is, because they spent so long oppressing black folks that they had to oppress everybody.
But you're right about that, because some of these women don't realize that they got the opportunities that they got because of affirmative action. It wasn't affirmative black action. It was affirmative action for every underserved community, which includes women.
White women.
Right. Oh, Cassandra, thank you very much for supporting independent media. I appreciate that. Wow, that's great. Thank you, Cassandra. Yeah, shout out to Cassandra in the comments. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, everybody. And then, oh, right, the book thing. We should put the book in the top of there because it's time to pre-order. Dulcé, you're gonna read my book, right?
Absolutely. You read your listen.
You're gonna buy my book. Dulcé, are you still hosting, filling in?
When they need me to.
Well, you better have me on the Daily Show to talk about the book.
Well, I would love to. I don't know the next time that I'm hosting because with this election stuff going on, they're real busy. They're real busy.
Okay.
It's interesting. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
So make sure you hit the thumbs up, everyone, and thank you again, Cassandra. Thank you everyone for that. Okay, so listen. Speaking of jokes, right? Daily Show and jokes. This was perhaps I think it was my favorite joke of the night, and it's by the president. Here, watch this.
Her story represents the best American story. And like many of our best presidents, she was also vice president. That's a joke.
He had to say that was a joke. We got it. That was good. That was good.
A little predictions is like our many president. Oh, also vice president. I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure that people would really get behind her. But when I saw how much money she raised so quick, and like I said, and now you know, oh, Uncle Joe firing faster than we thought he was. You see what I'm saying? But I'm glad he stepped down. No, the joke was cute. The joke was cute. But yeah, I if you would asked me about this 3 months ago, I'd have been like, she don't have a chance. Yeah. Now, I think it's the fact that a bunch of mayors in Arizona got together, like mayors of Arizona being the red state that it is. And that man hopped up and was just like, we can't do this anymore. And they had a banner behind him, Arizona Republicans for Harris. And he was like, we're saying to people, he's saying the quiet part out loud. We can't keep dealing with Trump's nonsense. And the fact that just all these Republicans are going, we're not dealing with this anymore. That probably just like, okay, that's the change. Because what it is now, if you've looked at the fact that what's really happening with the people that are behind him, and you're realizing this isn't about the politics of the country. This is about trying to give a man power. Like he lost and then they raised money for him. People gave him money because he lost an election. I was like, what is he getting money? What is this money going to? And then the sneakers and then the Bible. I said, girl, what is happening over there in that camp? And quit ordering stuff from China and the people don't got enough time to be dealing with you. It's confusing. I'll tell you that.
The most moving, I think, of the night, I want to show you. This is from the president, and then we'll talk about it.
And America, I love you. Folks, let me ask you. Let me ask you, are you ready to vote for freedom? Are you ready to vote for democracy and for America? Let me ask you, are you ready to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, President and Vice President of the United States?
That was I thought that was very emotional. And as I was watching that last night, I said, man, it's amazing how fortunes have changed and how quickly things can change where you're vice president, you're supposed to be in sort of the shadow, right? And quiet. And then all of a sudden you're right out front. Overnight, literally, it happened.
It literally happened overnight. But I'm telling you, if that man had not stepped down, this DNC, we wouldn't be excited about it. People wouldn't be trying to be there. I'm telling you, there'd be empty seats. I promise you, as soon as he stepped down, people was on their computer trying to get all the tickets to the DNC, trying to get all the credentials, trying to go. And I'm telling you, it was a huge, it's like you felt a shift because everybody got hope again. And hope is that's why it was Obama's, when you see him, when it was the poster that said hope on it.
Mm-hmm.
Hope is a very powerful thing because hope is a hard thing. Nobody talks about how hard hope is. Hope is a test of faith, right? Because you truly don't know, and you were just like truly praying. And if you don't believe in anybody, you still even if you're atheist, you still have hope. You see what I'm saying? Because you're willing an outcome. You're looking forward to something that you have no control over. And so for people to look up and go, okay, this is where we are, then it did feel like a shift because everyone was like, okay, we do have a way to go against this man. Because people were like, because I keep hearing people say, well, how come he can run for president if he has 34 felonies? Because the men who wrote the Constitution literally couldn't fathom a man not having shame.
Mm-hmm.
You did not write down no one with felonies can run. Also, I don't even know if a felony existed when they wrote it. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the minimum age to run for president is 35. Because if most of your population didn't make it to 70, you just know how old someone needs to be to do it. You didn't think about how old they could be where they couldn't do it. Nobody had grandparents. So you didn't think about the high end. You just thought about the minimum because like, this is what we're working with. This is what we know. But before someone would recuse themselves or pull themselves out, or it's like, I've been too shamed, I have to leave my office. He has no shame.
Dulcé, have you been, I've been not surprised, but it's been eye-opening to be, I don't know if you know that I'm going across the country. I started in New York and I ended up here in Chicago speaking to people. I'm not sure if you knew that. And just, asking people, random folks, how do you feel? What are you doing? Blah, 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 blah. And just one of the ones that we got was in Cleveland, okay? And from some voters in Ohio, there's New Jersey. We went everywhere. We went to Michigan. We went to Ohio, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Indiana, different places.
Swing states?
Yes, these are swing states. Okay, this is Cleveland, and I want to get just let you watch it, and then I'll get your response here.
How feeling about the election?
Kamala Harris all day long.
It's gonna be my second time voting, so I'm ready for it.
I'm going for Trump.
I'm excited for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
I don't feel like comfortable with the candidate.
I think Trump's gonna win.
I feel like it's leaning towards Trump for sure.
It sucks because I don't know what's going on. The world is a mess.
Oh, not very good, I guess. I don't really like either candidate.
I'm just trying to keep my hopes up here. We're kind of in despair.
Yeah. I'm a little hopeful. I'm hoping that things go in a positive direction for change.
I wish we had two new candidates.
We're going to have a first woman president or we're going to have Trump back in office, so it's going to be changed either way.
This is J.D. Vance's home state, and you're not rooting for him?
I'm okay on him. Not Republican, so I like J.D. Vance.
No.
No. Because?
I don't agree with his ideals.
No, not a fan.
Why not?
Not what I believe in.
Trump or Kamala Harris?
Donald Trump.
I don't vote.
Have to go Trump, man. Yeah. I have to. Trump. I got to go Trump.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. No comment.
I'm running for Trump, so.
I'm supporting Trump.
Kamala is doing a great job.
Kamala. But I'm probably not going to vote.
It's like they just pushed her in.
Now I vote more for what fits me better as a person rather than voting for the black person.
I would vote for Trump.
Kamala Harris.
What about you?
The black lady.
Gas wasn't this high when Trump was our president. Food wasn't this high. I'm going for Trump.
My first time voting was 2020. I think I wrote my name or someone else in.
With exactly what he said, he has the intellectual side of it.
Okay, and then I want you, so that's sort of overall people, Dulcé.
Yeah.
Then I did one that was specifically, which I found, again, enlightening for black men. Watch.
A lot of black men, they say they're supporting Donald Trump. Do you believe that? But who are you voting for?
Donald Trump.
Trump. Have to go Trump, man.
You said Trump.
Yes, I think they are, and I think the reason why is the money he gave away last time he was in office is what they're looking for again.
What money?
Even if it was illegally or legally, the PPP loans, stimulus, and stuff like that.
That wasn't him.
Who was that?
That was a Democratic Congress.
Oh, that was
he doesn't give away money.
I didn't know that. I didn't know what they probably think that's what the case is.
You know, they're actually looking and seeing who's going to benefit me more. Let me not just make a blind vote.
He run with the colored people. He run with our type. That's why we like him, because he's more for us.
I think a lot of black men, they want something different. They don't just want to follow the black vote.
Are y'all in the same household?
Yes, sir.
He kind of feel like his vote doesn't count almost. That's the part that's kind of discouraging.
The top people see a difference, but the bottom people don't see a difference too much. It takes a long time for us to see a difference.
Stuff happened with George Floyd. I say he gave us stimulus checks. Even though that was nothing, he didn't have to do that. He still blessed us with stimulus checks.
You know, he didn't do the stimulus checks. He didn't want to do it. That was a Democratic Congress. He only held it up to get his name on the check.
I did not know that. F Trump, man. I don't like Trump no more. F Trump. Kamala Harris. Kamala for president. Kamala for president.
I feel like they're brainwashed, honestly. He's not for us. He can't denounce white supremacy, setting rappers free, pardoning rappers to try to get their, try to get the sympathy vote from black people, and they fall for it.
And I did one for women. I don't know if the producers have it ready yet, but yeah.
Yeah, none of that was surprising. I met many men of color, various backgrounds, who all of a sudden who are like, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. And I'm like, of course you don't. Of course you don't. Of course you have no idea who you want to vote for. Here's the thing. We have been trying to fight this stimulus check thing since they came out. And I don't understand. Here's the first problem. People vote more. And again, this is what the Republican Party is good at, is a midterm election and for voting for Congress. Because Republicans understand how important Congress is, because they understand that Congress is who passes laws, is the one that proposes laws, and the ones that will block a law. All the president can do is veto a law. Here's the thing, it matters more to your life. Because somebody's like, well, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I don't know what candidate to vote for. Then don't vote for the president, but vote for Congress.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you need to vote for, because the people who affect you directly, the people who determine, oh, there's a pothole on my street. Well, you voted for somebody who voted to cut the money for the DOT. That's why there's a pothole on your street. Because, my kids aren't getting this because you didn't vote for the school board. Well, the police are acting like this. You didn't vote for who the sheriff was.
Yeah.
Well, this is how, because you did not vote for Congress. You did not vote for your school board. You did not vote for your sheriff. Vote for Congress. If you don't know if you want to vote for Trump or Kamala, fine. But don't stop that from you voting at all. So that makes sense. Well, he sent us $1,200. No, you didn't. A Democratic Congress. And I'm glad you said that to him, because he held, and I had to say this on the internet, he held up the checks to put his name on it.
To put the name on the check. He did not want the stimulus package, right? But then when he realized that that Congress wanted it and that people wanted it, so he reluctantly signed off on it and then held it up so that his name, and then he said, oh, we'll give him more, and then held it up so that his name could be on the check. Let's watch this one, Dulcé, and then I'll get your response. Women.
The election.
I'm going for Trump. I feel like every time they don't want somebody who is good for us to win, they throw somebody black in our face thinking that's going to make us vote for the black person.
I voted for Obama because he was black. I don't want to vote for her because she's the first black woman to run for president or to win.
I don't vote.
Well, I want Donald Trump. I'm sorry. I want Donald Trump.
Why do you apologize?
Well, I know nobody likes him, but we had good times with Donald Trump.
I'm running for Trump, so.
You are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why?
Yeah. I don't know. I just always been a fan of his, so that's what I'm running for.
I used to be against Trump. I used to live in Virginia. I saw the bad side of it, but really moving to Cleveland, I saw the other side of it.
I'm supporting Trump.
You are.
Because
Because it has to change.
Yeah.
It has to change, and now I vote more for what fits me better as a person, rather than voting for the black person or voting for the first woman. So
what do you think about Kamala Harris?
I think they say she phony and fake, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like Trump saying, what are you, So I'm not feeling her. People get mad about it, I'm just not feeling her.
I don't like her the way she speaks, the giddiness, the laughing. everything's a joke, and it's not a joke. We're in trouble.
I'm going for Trump. Kamala was on Biden's team, and I don't like Biden. Gas wasn't this high when Trump was our president. Food wasn't this high. I'm going for Trump.
Okay, so once again, people don't know how the economy works. It wasn't this high, but things that happened while he was president made it this high. This is what always happens. You have a Republican come in and it messes up the economy, and then a Democrat has to come and fix it. Remember with Clinton, and then like the debt went down to zero, and then we had W. Bush come in, and now the debt went back up, and then Obama had to fix it. So if you don't know how an economy works, then yes, gas was not this high. But guess what? Gas was this high when George W. Bush was president. We hit $5 and $6 gas when George W. Bush was president. It's not, people don't have a memory. So if you don't remember, if you're too young to know that when 9/11 happened, the price of gas shot up and it never came back down, right? And so every time there was a Persian Gulf, same thing. Desert Storm, same thing. Cost of gas shot up because they've lied to us and told us that the OPEC nations determine how much gas is when we really only get 10% of our fossil fuels from the Middle East anyway. And America could live off its own gas supply for 7 years if we never got another barrel of oil from the Middle East. But if you don't understand how the fluctuation works, then yes, you're going to be standing there going, well, I'm going for this. It's not about, if you don't want to vote for a woman, just say that. Don't act like, oh, well, Trump did this for us. Trump, if you were paying attention, Trump didn't want to help anybody. He tried to shut down the post office. He tried to shut down the post office because of ballots. And then someone turned to him and said, sir, rural voters are predominantly Republican and they have to vote by mail. If you shut down the post office, you will lose.
And then he got it. Then he's like, oh.
Got it, and he left the post office alone. This is what you're dealing with. So when you're dealing, so it's always, Black people have been made so disenfranchised from the government, right? Because we're keep seeing no one's benefiting us because there doesn't seem to be that much change in our community, right? And so this is the thing. The Democratic Party, is it truly serving Black people? No. But is the Republican Party actively working to hurt Black people? Yes. Is the Republican Party actively working to hurt women? Because if you're taking away a woman's right to her reproductive health, because now the only treatment for an ectopic pregnancy is to end the pregnancy, or say you lose your pregnancy and your body does not eliminate it, they have to go in your body and get it before you go septic and die. But since a septic pregnancy where the fetus has long died, it is not viable and it has not detached from the body and your body has not flushed it out, they call that an abortion. And so if you live somewhere where they stopped having abortions, if a fetus dies, if an embryo dies inside of you and it cannot come out, you will literally live in a state where legally they can't get it out.
Yeah. That is, so by the way, in my new book, okay?
Oh, you got a book?
I do. I talk about a case like this, like that. The fetus would not live or be viable outside of the womb, and they made this woman carry this fetus, which basically was barely and living, and then died inside of her, and they made her carry it. And so they said, the nurse said to her, you shouldn't be asking us to do that. You should be praying for a miracle. And she's like, okay, whatever. So anyways, maybe you could pray for a miracle, but you have to be realistic about it. So Dulcé, listen, can you please tell us about your book? Because Cassandra's in the chat saying that she's bought your book. Others are saying they're buying your book. Tell us about your book, please. And it's in the top of the chat. The link to Dulcé's book is in the top of our chat. So go buy it. Tell us about that. What was the inspiration? What's it about?
So the book's called Hello Friends, Stories of Dating, Destiny, and Day Jobs. And so basically I tell stories about, it's a book of stories. And so I started with the comedy first. And so I tell different stories of like from dating, because I used to date a mechanic because I had a 92 Pontiac with 283,000 miles on it that was leaking oil and transmission fluid, and I had to keep it on the road. He was a very nice man, but I say that because it's on paper. Also, I include stories about me being at the Daily Show and how I got that job and how I started. The chapter is called literally I'm Not a Writer at the Daily Show because I'm not a writer at the Daily Show. And so I talk about how I grew up and stories from growing up and dealing with teachers and then getting into college and having to go head to head with my professor. And then how I got into stand-up and just I took comedic stories from my life and then I filled them in with stories of my professional life. And so I picked my favorite stories and I picked things that I thought that I would want people to know, like how supportive Roy was of me when I first started, how supportive my mother was of me. Because a lot of kids, because I have a theater degree, and a lot of kids I went to school with, a lot of girls I went to college with, their parents wouldn't let them be theater majors, and their parents weren't supportive. And my mother, I became a stand-up comedian because my mother had a dream about me telling jokes all over the world, and that's how I got into stand-up comedy. And so I talk about how supportive my mom always was of me and making costumes for me and, you know, just helping me out. And so I talk about me going into therapy and wanting and having to learn about what self-care is because I'm a Southern Black woman. So as a Southern woman and as a Black woman, you don't learn about self-care. As long as everyone around you is okay and you're getting your hair and nails done, then it's good. So, you know, having to figure that out and then, you know, just doing summer stock theater in Quakertown, Pennsylvania. So just my favorite stories that I have about my life. You know, working a day job.
Now?
It's out now. It came out in February.
Oh, okay. Well, Dulcé, I have to run because I got to get down there before I get locked out.
True. Not locked out.
You.
Oh my God. Like grounded?
So, listen, they do sweeps and you never know. So tonight, Dulcé, you've got J.B. Pritzker, who is the governor of Illinois. You have the transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, who I ran into last night, Maryland Governor Wes Moore, who was just on the show a short time ago, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, who was almost the vice presidential pick.
The first lady, might be spicy.
Ooh, I know, because there's a little drama going on there. Also, the First Lady Michelle Obama is going to speak tonight. The First Gentleman Doug Emhoff, and then the former President Barack Obama, all slated to speak, and we're going to carry it for you, at least the President Barack Obama speech. So make sure you tune in to the channel. Tune in to the Don Lemon Show channel. Let's see. I think I just froze.
No, you're okay. You're okay.
I'm good. Tune into the Don Lemon Show channel for President Barack Obama's speech.
Yes.
And then we'll have post analysis. Okay. So make sure you tune in, and then we're going to have some very interesting and fun stuff. So Dulcé, thank you. I appreciate you joining, and go buy her book, Hello Friends, please. Okay.
Yes, it's on Amazon. It's from Anscape Books. Trying to make sure my mother never has to work again.
And we'll be watching you on the Daily Show, and I can't wait to be on with you talking about my book.
Absolutely, I will let them know.
Bye, Dulcé. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Bye, friend.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. I'm going to go head to the United Center and get over to the convention, and we're going to see you tonight. Lots and lots in store. Make sure you check out our social media sites for more of the interviews like you saw. We've gotten some really great things on the road. Okay. I've met some actual lemon heads in person too. I'm a lemon head. So it's great. Thank you guys. I appreciate you. I love the smile, and I'll do like Lil Wayne. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, everyone. I'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye, Dulcé.